So, you want to make a game. Great. But games, even small indie titles, are complex and require a lot of different skills. Programming, art, visual effects, audio, it just doesn't happen overnight. Now I know what you're gonna say. There are a few examples out there like Undertale and Fez and Braid and so on, but let me assure you these are the exception, not the rule. If you want to see your vision come to life, you'll want to put together a team. In this video, we're going to talk about how to find teammates, organize your project, create a good working relationship with your teammates, and how to avoid common mistakes and pitfalls. Now, if you are starting off, you probably have a couple of designs ready, and all you think that you have to do is design, implement, and you have your game, right? Well, unfortunately, the story is a little bit longer than that. You have a plan, but you need to build it. And what does it involve? You need the sound effects, you need the marketing, you need the levels, they're not going to build themselves, the models, the visual effects, the music. Good luck if you're not a composer. The quality assurance, so gotta test that game at the end. The mechanics, the gameplay, including the gameplay loops, and of course scripting. You gotta program somehow. And you might think, well, I can start off with one and proceed forward with that one, and later on I'll do the rest and learn it. Well, that'll just make you an amateur at everything else, and nobody's a jack of all trade where they can just make stuff up on the fly. Now, some very loud minority out there will tell you that even though you're having a bad time, this is the way to do it. You have to do everything by yourself. It's a weird sort of Puritan way of looking at things, but do remember the vast majority of these people that are yelling, they haven't even made a single game. And chances are, if you follow that advice, you won't either. So that's why you need a team. You need to spread the tasks between each other, and you need to be able to work together in order to achieve the final product. Now then, finding teammates. It's easier to say, make a team, but where do you start? Where do you look for people? Right off the bat, you can look for them on Facebook. Facebook has a couple of groups and people who are interested in game development or video games or whatever, and you can easily recruit from there. You can even contact your old friends and, call them up and say, hey, I have a business proposition to give you. Nah, I'm just kidding. Don't say that. But honestly, though, go check with all your friends. Some people might be interested, but they don't know where to start either. Discord's another one. If you buy assets online, sometimes they are affiliated with a Discord server. Go on the server, present your ideas. Maybe some people would be interested in working together and form a group. Reddit is another one. You can go on boards, forums, and see what people have made and ask them if they are willing to work with you. And finally, meetups, the good old dating websites. Sometimes meetups have hobbyists who like to make video games. Another way to do it is also to participate in game jams, but unfortunately, you have to have the right timing. You have to have the right game jam. Now, finding the people is not as difficult. What you want to do though is find the right people, and that can be a little bit tricky. So, what do I mean by the right people? Well, in order to achieve something, you're going to need time and you're going to need effort. Some people have a lot of time, others are willing to put in a lot of effort. Sometimes, some folks don't have the time or the effort they want to put into something. So, you want to avoid the people in the middle. You want to get the best. What you don't want to get is someone who does not even want to get out of bed, or if they do get out of bed, the first thing they'll think about is, I'll do it tomorrow. No, you do not want that. It will become very hard for the project to move forward, and everyone else is going to feel it. So, what do? Well, basically, interview. You ask people, what are your experience with video games? I guess. But most of the time, people will tell you that they have played games, but not many people will tell you that they have outright made games. So you have to ask the right questions. One of them is, why do you want to make games? Even if they've never made a game, it's good to know where they're coming from. Passion and money are good incentives for people to do something. Wanting to make something, however, is not that great an incentive, and you do not want to have this on your hands. Let me explain. Money is a good driver because people are willing to do a lot of things for money. They feel like their time is being compensated, and therefore they're willing to put in the work. Passion, on the other hand, much like money, there's a sort of self-rewarding mechanism. You're doing out of passion, and whenever you see progress, you feel good about it. And people who have both passion and money as drivers are the best of the best. But Of course, there are those who like neither. They're not in it to make the money, and they're not in it because of passion. They just want to do something. To those people, this is no more than a mere hobby, and you do not want that. Because once the hobby gets a little bit too hard, well, they'll treat it like a hobby and just move on to something easier. The next question is, of course, what is your experience? Everybody has experience in something, but not a lot of people are very well experienced. And experience levels are fine. It's not you need the most experienced person to do a certain job, but you need some sort of experience. You need to know, have they ever made a game? Have they ever even made tic-tac-toe? Something as simple as that. And if they have never made anything, well, it's starting to look a little bit murky. So the good questions are, have you ever made a game? How familiar are you with the engine? A lot of times, a lot of people do not appreciate what kind of engine they're going to work with. And finally, what are you in for? And remember the golden rule. If you have a bad gut feeling about something, go with it. The gut feeling always prevails. I have met people in my lifetime who are amazing at programming or whatnot, but then there's always something off. And each time I did not listen to my gut feeling, I ended up regretting it. You have your team. Congratulations. You're on the right track. But you have to figure out now, how do I get a project going? And, well, people will just do their job and we'll get something in the end, right? Wrong. Absolutely wrong. And the reason for that is because if there is nothing to keep everyone going at the same pace or rate, you're going to start finding that some people are lagging behind and soon the project is kind of asymmetrical. In a future video, we will cover what a memorandum of understanding or memorandum of agreement is and how to work with one. But in this video, we'll just briefly go over what it is. Hopefully, right after you have your team, everybody signs the memorandum of understanding and everybody understands what they are in for. Next up, once the project is formulated, you want to use a board of sorts. You want to use something to assign tasks. You want to know where the tasks are, and you want to know what sort of comments people can leave on such tasks. Trello is a very good example since it's free and it offers a lot of dynamic aspects to know what you're doing. You want to also have deadlines. You also want to have regular meetings. Regular daily scrums are very much appreciated. I know what you're saying right now, not the scrums, but trust me, especially if you're starting off and the team is very new, having daily scrums really helps to know where people are at all times. And it doesn't have to be like hour-long meetings, just 15, 20 minutes a day just to know where people are and if they need some help. And my best advice is to not propose your baby project. Everybody has one. Everybody has that project that, they put their heart and soul into it. Don't do it. You want to go at it as a team. You want to develop something together that everybody can have equal input into, and that way everybody will feel valued. Why not the baby project? Because it's your baby. Because you will be resistant to input, to change, because although one person may see it one way, it's your baby, and deep inside your heart, you know that's not what you want. You got your team. Congratulations. You're already working on the project. Everybody's happy. That's good. That's great. However, you notice that somebody did not come to that meeting that one time. Oh, who cares? It happens. And again, it happens again and again. And soon you notice that on the Trello board, they're not fulfilling their obligations. They're not telling you what's happening. Well, you might have noticed it and you're thinking, oh, maybe it's just me. But truth be told, everybody noticed it and everybody's feeling it. The difference is some people might feel it more than others, and if nobody says anything or nobody intervenes, someone's going to blow up and the project's going to go bye-bye. And that is why you should have a memorandum of understanding. In the memorandum, it will detail what an individual is, what their responsibilities, obligations, and consequences are, and also what to do in different situations. What if instead of not pulling their weight, what if your teammate is in jail? What if there's an earthquake? How long do they have to recover before you have to replace them or kick them out outright? What if they're sick? Or what if their life turned upside down? The Memorandum of Understanding will detail that. It will clearly state the limits, the procedures, and what to do about it. I know it sounds unpleasant, but at the same time, If someone fails to keep up with their own responsibilities, you have to kick him out. It is a harsh reality, but one that does exist. And you will find people. In the beginning, they will be highly motivated, they will attend meetings. As time goes by, their interest will start to dwindle, and so will their efforts. So, you have a team. Nobody's slacking off. Everything is great, and you're on the way to achieve your vision. And you notice that at some point the artist asks, "Hey, what color should the hat of the hero be?" Well, the answer is pretty darn obvious, isn't it? Should be green, 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 or red. Now, you might think, oh, who cares? It's a simple detail, right? What does it matter? Well, for some people, it matters quite a bit. And they will be stubborn about it, and this is where you need to be able to mediate it. Before we get into the solutions, you have to remember, never, ever, ever use your position. The second you use your position, it becomes free range for everyone else. They're going to start using their position. It's going to be very resentful, and people are willing to quit over this. People will quit. Next, never, ever, ever demean the other person's idea. It is their idea, and an idea comes from their past, their upbringing, their opinions, and so forth. You can attack the idea and you can say for whatever reason the idea is good or bad, but don't start demeaning it saying it's a stupid idea or where did he come up with that. And finally, never make it personal. Maybe somebody doesn't like your idea. It doesn't mean that the person hates you or disagrees with you. It just means that they don't see it the same way you do with your idea. Same thing goes the other way around. Maybe somebody will just not see your idea as being good, but it doesn't mean they think you're not good. All right? So here are some proper solutions. One of them is to postpone until post-production. Whether it's red version, blue version, we all know which one's the best, right? But at the end of the day, when you face the Elite Four, did it really matter whether or not it was red or blue? It really didn't. And at the end of the day also, when you have a game ready to be shipped, whether the hat was green or red is going to sound very superfluous, very minimal, and people are not going to accord too much to it. So don't fret. If it's for small aesthetic details, you can definitely postpone until post-production and then sort it out. Sometimes people will completely forget about it and they will rescind that position. The next solution is to challenge and prototype. You tell them, if you want your idea to be heard, don't just say it, show it. Maybe while they're doing the prototyping, they'll notice there are some shortfalls. The idea is not that great. You don't want to do that. And that's fine. Or sometimes the prototype will be so beautiful, so impeccable, so convincing, it will just land right with everyone. Another one is to poll, vote, or an arbitrary method of decision. You can vote for something, but I highly recommend against it. If it becomes too unanimous in one way against a person, they will feel ostracized, and you do not want to ostracize your teammates. You can always do a coin flip, but again, if the coin flip lands too many times against a person, they will start feeling a bias, and that's not good. Or the good old dueling glove. Nothing settles anything like a match of doom, right? And finally, setting limits. Sometimes someone really wants to put that one quip in there, that one mark that will just make it controversial, and you don't want that. So just set the limit. Make it completely clear. I don't want to make fun of this guy, that lady, or the other guy. This is not about this. It's not about politics. It's not about insulting people or provoking people. It's about making the game. That's what this is all about. Thank you very much for your time. If you like the content, please click the like button. Subscribe for future content such as the Memorandum of Agreement. If you really like this content, please join us on our Patreon where you can vote on future releases and get early access to working on at the time. Hope to see you again.